Welcome to the kitchen table. I'm your host, PrimeTemps. This is a show where I sit down with another community member and play a best of five with, well, less than orthodox decks. Today I had on Eternal's most prolific content creator with 2 podcasts and an interview series. This is Team Rankstar's MantidMan. Well, alrighty. MantidMan, welcome. I'm excited to have you.
I am very excited to be here. Hearing what you had planned, it's so simple, yet I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to the next 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So I've sent you a challenge. I am playing. Oh yeah, I haven't revealed. Every time we've done this, I haven't revealed the decks to the opponents, or we haven't revealed decks. So I like keeping the mystery afloat. So once again, for anyone who hasn't watched, MantidMan and I are going to play memey yet ridiculous decks, whatever we want, really, and just kind of hang out.
Oh, we're supposed to be playing memey yet I'm just kidding. Mine's slightly competitive, but it has some meme factor.
No,
for sure.
That's perfect. It's whatever you want to play. I often think back to the days of playing Magic with my friends, at the kitchen table and just being ridiculous. And I'm gonna keep this hand for sure.
So my first question, which is, it's a little condescending, but I'm looking at my card back, and then I'm looking at your card back.
Yeah, I have the best card back. I also understand why you'd be jealous of the
yeah. Oh, the Eternal Throne. Do not call it empty, because the King has returned, my friend.
Oh, that's right. Because I'm talking to probably Eternal's largest lorehound. How long did it take to? Okay, I have to be very honest with you. I am not a person that's into lore. I don't think I've ever been really into lore. I just play a game and go with it. So, how did you even start unwrapping the Eternal storyline?
So, when I first got into the game, I was actually pretty frustrated with the way the lore was presented, because I'm very much a lore hound. So, I jump into a game, and yeah, the gameplay is sweet in games, but I really like a game with a good fleshed out story, and that's one of the reasons that I've struggled so much to find a decent card game, especially digitally, because none of them have really a storyline. They're just an excuse to play cards. Even Hearthstone. Yeah, it's in an established universe, but it's just gone. It was so goofy after even the first expansion that it can't really be counted as having good lore.
Oh yeah.
So I was playing the game, and the game was just killer, so good, but the lore was laid out in a very asynchronous manner, which, looking back, I shouldn't have been as frustrated as I was, because it's a very ingenious way to present the storyline, and it leaves a lot of options for how they can go back and do stuff without being unexpected. There's no issue with them doing prequels and doing side stories that take place 20 years ago and things like that, because people expect that now.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say I got into the game and was frustrated. And then I enjoyed the game a bunch. And when Dead Reckoning came out, everybody is kind of an Ikaria fanboy, fangirl, fan person. And she's just popular, and I was in that boat. So the storyline for that was really cool. So I went back, and they allude to all this other stuff in the game during that campaign, during Dead Reckoning, and I just hadn't even picked up on any of it really. So I went back and I started looking, and I was like, oh my gosh, this story is so well fleshed out. They have a plan for everything that's going on. All of these little nuances and all these things that they're doing, they know where this is going. So I want to be ready when this happens. So I just dove in, and when I decided to record the first episode of the Oath Book, it wasn't even out of a desire to create content or something like that. It was on a daily basis in the official Discord. There was somebody coming into the lore channel saying something like, oh, where can I read all of the background for the lore Eternal? And nobody had a good answer. So there was a bunch of people that tried to compile things, and they did a solid job. I'm not disparaging anybody, but it obviously was frustrating for them. And because every time somebody would read it, they would go back. Somebody would come back and say, "Hey, you missed this, or you got this wrong." And I'm getting boned on my draws here. But um, so I put together a video series, and it took me, I think I spent the better part of 4 or 5 hours across 2 days going through
Oh, jeez.
everything
Wow.
to get all of the lore put together.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. I mean, I learned a lot during that process,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a lot of fun.
What do you got going?
So
Okay, so you've got a lot of discard. I see you've got Shadow. I'm assuming you're trying to get some large unit into the bin to then receive him out of the bin, or him or her. Okay. All right. I feel like I'm picking this up. And, okay.
I haven't figured out what you have going on outside of like, oh, you have wisps and explorers and power.
It's nothing but wisps and explorers. That's the joke.
That's awesome. Both of those factions, since we were on lore, like wisps and explorers, both have a lot of information that we don't know. So I'm looking forward to getting some more background. It may be 5 years before we find out anything,
right?
But we will, and I'm pumped about it.
No, honestly, like I sat down and I watched the Oath book, and like I learned more about all of the Eternal lore in. Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, good. Wait. Do I like this? Okay, all right. There's the art. And then draw the 0-cost torch. Do it. How often does a 0-cost torch come off of Heart of the Vault? I feel like it's every time.
I get them a bunch. It's not every time, but it is a fair amount.
It's got to be close, right? Oh, God damn it. All right. Well, I guess I'll just have to ping you to death. So, knowing all this, knowing you're a busy man, I mean, like, first of all, your content producing is prolific. I mean, you have so many things you're doing. I still haven't caught up on your podcast with Platypus. I know that you guys obviously had to take a break for unfortunate reasons. Is that back yet, or what's the plan with that?
Yeah, we actually started it back up. I can't remember if it was this week or last. It was 2 weeks ago. Okay. And so that is Unexpected Results, the Eternal Podcast.
The Eternal Podcast.
That's the title, not an earned thing. We got so much flack for that from like Neon, not like serious flack, but enough where he was like, "Hey man, how are you the Eternal Podcast where there were 3 others before you?" I was like, "Bro, it's just the name we chose."
Yeah, dude, it's fake it till you make it. Come on, dude.
That's right. So that's every Monday at 6 Eastern, 9 Pacific, and it goes for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And if you're a fan of wrestling, there's some wrestling talk in there as well. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My father-in-law and my future brother-in-law are huge wrestling nerds. Like they both went to Raw recently. Not SmackDown. SmackDown's the big one, right?
So, like, Raw is probably the A show still technically, but SmackDown has a lot of the better talent. Oh, okay. So, I mean, they're like on even playing fields, but Raw is a longer show. Raw is like a 3-hour show, and SmackDown's only a 2-hour show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when it came to, oh my God, I would love to draw actual cards at some point. Oh, hi, Cat. All right, well. Yeah, so I mean, like, other than being a child of the 90s and, like, growing up in, like, the Stone Cold Rock Undertaker era, that's all I know about it.
Yeah. It is, I mean, that's a great place to be, for sure. And if you never get back into wrestling, like, that is still probably the apex of wrestling.
Just leave it?
Yeah, like, you don't necessarily have to torture yourself. You can just have those memories and you're in good shape. But, you know, I've always been a fan. Again, I'm a big story guy, so I'm not in it because it's a bunch of buff dudes like beating the hell out of each other. I'm in it because yes, there is athleticism, but there's like a story that they weave, and there's like all these people that this is their passion, and it really shows through. Like that's what I get out of it.
Right. Okay, Cat. Sorry, my lovely cat is trying to interrupt everything. Okay, dude. There we go. Just edit that out later. Okay. Well, all right. This is not how I planned this to go. How much damage can I actually take?
12. That's what that number next to your avatar means.
Oh, is that what that means? Oh shit. All right. Well, we're gonna do this. Yeah, you didn't see that coming.
Ooh, man.
I'm still dead, but what's that? That's 12. That's 11. I'll take 11 in the hopes that I draw something.
In the immortal words of multiple streamers, but I think Yottabyte says it best. Math is for blockers, so I'm not even worried about calculating.
And all right, fair enough. I'm gonna call this one for drawing power, but that's fair. We have many more games to go. So one thing I do like to ask everyone is, what's your favorite way to play Eternal? Like, if you have, the kids are in bed, you have like an hour, before you've done the math in your head of like, I need to wake up by this time to get to work, do all this stuff. Like, you're ready to sit down. What is your ideal way to play Eternal?
So I'm a big fan of masochism.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now, this is actually torture for me because I rarely play on the PC. It's not torture, but I don't. This is not the kind of game I want to play on the PC. I would rather be playing something like, like Call of Duty or World of Warcraft. Something that's like really involved that you need the interface for. So I love playing. Yeah. So I love playing on the tablet. Specifically, I play on the iPad, and that's the reason I say I'm a masochist, because they, Apple. When I say they, Apple, not Direwolf. Apple does not care about small companies, and Direwolf, until this game blows up, is considered a small company in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, every time a patch hits, unless you live under a rock, you see that iOS gets screwed. Like, we're hours or days behind. I remember when the fourth set came out, and I had to wait 12 hours before I could open my packs because I did not want to open my PC up.
I remember that. Reddit was just a clusterfuck. There were so many angry people, and I was just like, I play on PC. Well, whatever. But yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. And like Scarlatch came in, was trying to like calm everyone down.
Yeah, it's not his fault. Like, they had to approve it. It was right before Christmas, so I'm sure nobody was working the approval process for the small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Direwolf's fault. Anybody who is mad at Direwolf misplaces their anger. That's, to be fair, that's the video game community, and like, in a sentence, is misplaced anger. Like, loud minority in a misplaced form.
100%. That's like one of my. Is this Illumination Wisp blacked out to you?
It is, yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's a weird graphical error.
I'm glad you said something. I will report that during. Oh, this was a. I just realized that I played a merchant. I grabbed the wrong card, but that's okay. Yeah, that's what I want. So yeah, I'll report that bug so you don't have to deal with that on your screen. But that's just another thing. Like, right now, we're going through this weird transition where they're trying to get all the software cleaned up for the full release.
Yep.
And every day, like, Reddit and Discord are rife with people going, "Oh, what the fuck did you do to my game?" Like, guys, if you want this game to be where it should, shut your mouths.
I know. Oh man, it's so frustrating. Like, I feel like I had to take a break from Reddit. Like, I had to legitimately calm down because I get baited so easily in like replying to people. I'm like, oh, I want to reply to this guy. Oh, fuck this guy. I'm gonna say, I get so into it. And so a lot of times I have to step back and be like, maybe I don't need to reply to this guy that doesn't know what he's talking about. And one of my favorite things was, do you remember there was a Facebook ad and some asshole was like, oh, I could do it better. It was like it was a Reddit thread.
So I don't remember that, but I absolutely believe you that happened.
Yeah.
Because, again, that happens with every video game community. But my favorite response to that is, then fucking do it. One, design a game and get it out to 5,000 people and get them playing it. And then two, also build the ads and keep up with the servers and balance shit on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just go and do it. I would love to see you accomplish this task.
Man, yeah, I just remember going through that thread, and my wife's my wife is a graphic designer. She's self-employed, and and
Really?
so I tore into this guy. I like told him like the reasons why he was wrong, the reason why like the ad he proposed was shitty, and like I felt bad for graphic designers everywhere, so I took it upon myself to I don't know, because he was mad at like Direwolf's graphic designer, who's probably just a dude they hired. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, probably a college student to be like knowing the size of the company. And I'm not bashing anybody. I didn't see the ad. I don't know what it looks like. I don't even use Facebook. So,
Yeah.
um, but I would say if it was a Facebook ad for a company this size, it was a college student. It had to be, or somebody very new in their career, or somebody who offered to do it for free.
Yeah.
That's all it could have been. So, yeah. But if your wife is a graphical designer, and this goes to anybody listening, if you have any skills, I have none. I barely know how to use a microphone and like recording software to do my videos. I'm looking for a graphic designer to help me come up with a logo for the Oath book. So,
all right. Well, we will be in contact after this episode.
Absolutely.
Okay.
See, I'm trying to figure out what you go to the market for in this pile of garbage that you're playing.
Yeah, this is a particularly hot garbage run. This is impressive.
All right, I want to put that on the bottom because I don't care about it.
Oh, good God. What a mess of a game.
So here's the thing. I keep thinking that freaking unit is tapped. I can't tell that it's not because it's blacked out.
The secret tech. Oh, there's the torch off the top. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
That's right. Bangarang.
Oh my goodness. How am I even
Got another one of them? Got another one of them Talier's interventions?
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
All right, so you don't care about lore at all, but you have to have like a favorite voice line. There's just something that you hear that you're like, oh, that's sick.
Oh, my favorite voice line. I just really enjoy everything Yetis. So
they're awesome.
When I got really excited when I realized that when Jotun Feastcaller says, "Little brothers, let us feast," like he's probably talking about the little brothers from Big Brother, and I was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous." All right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Yetis as well. I was really happy to see that everybody wanted Skycrag to be the next Oathbook episode because I'm really looking forward to like pulling those voice lines and talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a Roland apologist, so I'm a big fan of obviously like the harsh rule line is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm.
This ends now.
Oh, that is a really good one too.
It's so badass. But I think my favorite right now is I've been playing a deck that Cybomb put on Reddit, the lore deck, which I almost brought to this.
I saw your Twitter post and I wanted to click it, but I did not click it.
Yeah, so it's called Wings and Will, which is a reference to Icaria's voice line that says, "Our wings and will are unbreakable." Mm-hmm. That's such a great line, and I've heard it so much playing this deck that he's got posted. I have a lot of fun with. I knew there was something like that.
Yeah, of course, dude. I'm playing nothing but giant sand dunes. Sanddunes.deck.
Well, let's say I deal with 3 of these bad boys.
Oh, I can't. There's literally nothing I can do about that.
But that's and I get to choose what my 3rd card is going to be.
You got another torch. Can we talk about how you just got another torch off top? Can we talk about that?
I double torched.
All right. Well, this game is quickly over. There's nothing I can do to this sports date, and I apologize for all the viewers because this is not the showing I intended. But that's all right. It's the showing they're gonna get.
That's right.
It'll work.
Well, this deck is there's the shout out to my team. This deck was built by Ether Llama, probably one of the best deck builders that I've seen in the game. Even before he was a TRS member, I was a big fan.
No, he was absurdly what was his first deck that really took off? I forgot already.
It was definitely he had some decks before this, but the one that like cemented him was easy climb tokens during the Praxis.
That's right.
Like that phase
That's right.
was bad for a lot of people. I enjoy the tokens archetype, which gets me a lot of hate.
Fair
But
enough.
but yeah, he put that deck together, and it got so many people to masters. And his deck techs like are very simple. It just says things like, "Hey, you need to get to these influence and to this power, and you'll just win if you pay attention to the game." And that's like his stuff is so crisp. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I really, really respect his deck building, mainly because I'm a terrible deck builder myself. Um, and like I'm very much just I'll bring this and see what happens, kind of player. So I can't really identify with the like real deck builders out there.
Yeah, so I've been playing card games for a long time. Like I played Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a kid. I mean, I was a kid when it came out, so it wasn't like super popular. But my friends and I got into it because we couldn't afford Magic.
Right.
And
Which
I got a little old. Oh, go ahead.
I would say, to be honest, who can afford Magic?
Yeah, pros, and that's about it. um, so I so I got into like Yu-Gi-Oh, and then got out of that when I got to high school. And I think I want to keep all these cards, so I'm just going to continue. So I got out of it when I got to high school because I was really worried about what people thought about me before I realized that that shit doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, that's good face.
Yeah. And so I didn't play many card games in high school. I think I tried out some stuff or whatever, and then I obviously didn't have time during the military to really do any of that. But when I came back from the military, there was this interesting game that a small company called Blizzard put out called World of Warcraft, and it was it was kind of popular.
I've never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And they released a card game for it called the World of Warcraft trading card game, and everybody's talking about how it was going to change the way card games were played because of the way the power system worked and like all this really cool stuff. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. The game is pretty popular, so that means there'll probably be a lot of people that play. I play World of Warcraft a little bit, so I'll understand like the storylines and stuff behind it.
Right.
So I got into that and loved it. And I was like really good. I mean, I had like top finishes in regional events and things like that, but it takes a lot of work, and I couldn't do that anymore. Like they canceled it 5 and change years ago. They killed the game to make Hearthstone. Completely understand it from a business position.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, like they used all the 80% of the Hearthstone art upon release was World of Warcraft TCG art.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So so they killed it they gutted it to make that, and it just is what it is. So I had like this really bad breakup. Hearthstone is probably a great game. I mean, I even played it for a little while and I enjoyed it somewhat, but it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh,
so
that's really sad.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But it took a lot of work to play at the level I played at. Like I had ranked national finishes, like top 16 and things like that. But I can never dedicate that kind of time, and I never deck built. That was where this whole story kind of spawned. I always used like other people's ideas, or I gave people ideas, but I could never put the ideas like into practice. So anytime I see somebody who builds these cool decks, I reach out to them. I express the immense amount of respect I have for that skill.
Right.
And Ether Llama deserves that. A lot of the deck builders that are currently in the game deserve that, because there's a lot of really ingenious ideas and very original approaches to stuff. The meta changes so quickly because these people see these things that nobody else thinks of.
Yeah, that's one thing that I can't really wrap my head around with Eternal, at least, is how fast this meta changes. Like, so I play, I spend a lot of time playing Magic just like casually, and that was just like, I mean, I played Standard for a little bit. I mainly like drafted, did Limited, because that was the only way I could afford to play it. And and then when I started getting like really competitive, I started playing Pauper, and so that's my format of choice. Again, money's a huge deal, but I also like to play Legacy Light. Like, it's fantastic. So that metagame is very well established. I mean, it's a card pool. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the card pool in Pauper, but it's anything that was printed at common.
Yeah. Oh, I'm familiar with the Pauper
Okay,
format.
you are. So okay, cool. And I want this.
Yeah, like teleport or something crazy. No, I think teleport's like 3, right? What do you have?
Teleport's 2. What was I gonna say? Oh, that's right. Like, so established metagames, right? And like, I also come from fighting games, so like having a very concrete idea of what the format spike is. So like when you're playing like Street Fighter 4, for example, and when there was the Sagat domination era, I knew with my character how to beat Sagat, right? So like I could definitely play the game how I wanted to play it. But in Eternal, it's just like you're just bombarded with so many different ideas, so many different decks, and like so many different really talented players that it just becomes so hard to play the game, like really the way you want to play it, or at least that's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, and these people that go out, and I don't know who did it, so I'm not going to try and give anybody credit, but
Mm-hmm.
whoever came around and figured out like the Talir combo,
Oh my god.
all the cards that make that combo good, like the prime focus cards, are all very old. Like Vodacon is not a new card. Talir, not a new card.
Oh yeah.
But like Market is what really brings that deck together and makes it feasible.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Magus' Celerity and some of them, or some of these other kind of like niche cards that just came out, they
Yeah.
for sure help. But whoever went back and was like, hey, I'm going to use this card that's like almost 4 years old, and we're going to just oppress anybody who doesn't know that this is the thing, that's genius to me. I never would
Oh
think to do that.
no, I feel the same way. I absolutely love that deck for like for what it is. Like it's a really, really fantastic deck building. It's just, oh my god, that deck is so fucking cool, and I'm just jealous that I didn't think of it. That's all. That's the only thing. That's the only negative emotion that I have with that deck. Because
Yeah.
like,
No,
who
and
would have
I've
thought?
said
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. I was gonna say, like, I have never, I don't understand the complaints about it, because it's not a difficult deck to beat. But I get, like, people have explained to me it's not the deck that's the problem, it's the play style. Okay, fair. I get it now a little bit more, but let's be real. That's so cool to be on that playing side of it and have it work.
Yeah. No. So like, I just like, who thought? Yeah, just put Vodacon in the market, you idiot. And it's like, ah, well, god damn it, dude. I'm gonna grab this guy.
There's like a lot of questions that I want to ask you, but I think I'm gonna try and get you on Trail Stories here one of these days, especially before all this takes off, just so I can say, like, hey, I was hanging out with Prime before it was cool, man. So
Yeah, dude. Well, yeah, we can hold off on the questions. I still have a whole like little notebook. Like I was like stalking your Twitter before we are getting on, and like I was like, all right, what am I gonna ask him? How am I gonna do this? Um, so yeah, no, we can just go to the notebook. And this is one thing. Okay, this is like a revelation that I've had in my own head, um, and I've been really excited about it. So I want to bounce this idea off of you,
let's hear it.
and that is, I have a great theory that the name Eternal, like the Eternal card game, or Eternal the card game, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That is very much on purpose because I feel like the developers of this game are literally making a non-rotating card game.
So I kind of have, obviously the first place anybody goes is like, oh, the throne is called the Eternal Throne, so that's why the game is called Eternal, because there's always going to be a fight over this most powerful relic. And sure, on the surface, that's probably correct.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they are going to capture. I mean, they've already proved. I think they've already kind of proved that your theory.
Yeah.
Because I agree with it. The way that they go back and they use the digital space to balance cards on a regular basis, and the way that they design cards, and like all these little niche mechanics, like ambush. We haven't seen a lot of ambush cards recently, but it's a mechanic that still exists.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we may never see a rotation, and I would be fine with that.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people. Oh my good god. No. I don't wanna. Yeah, so like I hadn't really been thinking about it, but in thinking about content for my up and coming website, I was like, well, like what about like is rotation necessary? That's like the first question I started asking myself. Does rotation need to happen? And again, as someone who exclusively plays Pauper, I mean, there is no rotation. I mean, there's banned cards, but you could just ban a card if you wanted. Like, or
Sure.
you could just like quote unquote rotate it out by nerfing it. Like there's ways that they're getting around it. And I truly think that when they say we don't have any plans for rotation, that's it, dude. Like we're not getting one.
Yep. Well,
It's
I think you're absolutely correct. My biggest gripe, and I'm a guy, anybody who's familiar with me, and you stalked my Twitter, so you probably see this as well. And like people who are fans of the podcast or read like my series or even just interact with me,
mm,
like I rarely say negative stuff. I will say one thing negative about a minority in the community. I hope it's a minority, but anybody who compares one IP with another, saying that like something else is the gold standard,
mm,
calling something else the gold standard is fine. Like that's a goal to hit. But saying that you have to build your somebody else's IP around that quote unquote gold standard is absolute garbage to me.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that a lot of like it's kind of easy to see that a lot of these guys, LSV, Patrick Chapin, Patrick Sullivan, like all these designers are like taking out essentially like taking out their frustrations by making the game they want to play. And so I think that for whatever reason they have this idea that an idea I agree with, by the way. I guess I didn't say that, but I'm totally fine with no rotations. I'm totally fine with playing with these cards. Like I love it.
Oh, I think the revolutionary stuff that they've revolutionary is too strong of a word. I try and be careful with word choices.
Yeah.
I think the interesting choices that they have made, such as um, such as the idea that you don't have to have a sideboard to have a competitive environment, and
Mm-hmm.
that you possibly don't need a rotation to have a competitive environment, is fantastic. Like, go against the grain, take a risk. Obviously, Direwolf doesn't need any help. Like, I don't want people to lose their jobs because the game goes under, but they have great products that are not eternal. Like Clank is an awesome board game.
Oh man,
Lotus, like Lotus and all that kind of stuff, like their other apps and their other games and things like that, they're all fantastic.
mm-hmm.
So Eternal doesn't have to succeed. I want it to, but it doesn't need to.
Right.
So take some risks and do something, because if you strike gold, man, this is the space and the time to do it in.
Man, well, I'm definitely just striking out over here with all your gigantic bodies, but I'm gonna keep it going and attempt to push through somehow. Well, maybe not. Oh my god! And can you? Oh, and you can play another one?
I could if I mean, I could play something else if I had it, but I'll tell you right now, I'd have played it possibly
16.
beforehand.
Oh man. Yeah. So this whole deck is just accelerated impact. And I actually had another version of it with exclusively like the big body, like the big booty flyers. So like Karmic
Mm-hmm.
Guardian and Top Tower Top Patrol and like Illumination Wisp, and that would like steal me games every once in a while. And I really just want to play it, so I'm gonna play it. But this deck ended up doing like 16 or 17 damage on like turn 4 or 5, and it would be
Good
really
night.
funny. Um, but we struck out this time, and that's fine. But just like turns like this where you're like, oh, there's all these stupid like veteran strategists. Like, what is that card? Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like there's no risk in me leaving some of these cards up because they're gonna die to my guys, and
Yeah.
you're in. Like, you're not gonna. You've obviously you weren't gonna harsh rule me ever.
No.
So
No. Yeah. This is not. I guess.
and
Not a harsh rule deck.
and now I understand why you weren't gonna harsh rule me, because you wanted to have all those guys to be like, oh hey, look, everybody's huge now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I will take my defeat. That is a okay. How are we doing on time? So we're at 34 minutes. Yeah, so that worked out pretty much perfectly. Um, so I guess maybe I'm reaching too far, but I do want to ask you this because I feel like you get to ask this to everyone. Is do you have a card that you want to make in Eternal?
Oh, I absolutely do. I have been waiting for somebody to say, "Hey, I want to interview the interviewer." Most almost exclusively, so somebody would ask me that, and I've been asked like I got asked in a chat or something I think the other day,
Hmm.
but there was like 5 people paying attention, so there would be like 7 people that hear this.
Yeah, like
Uh,
if we're lucky. Maybe it's the same. It's probably been the same 5 people that you told this to in chat.
that's right. So, I really like the so outside of enjoying a very toxic deck type like tokens,
Okay.
um, I really like the decks that like Tony G and RNG Eternal and Platypus King enjoy, and that's armory decks.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be like armory on the avatar. I don't I like playing pants on stuff. So give me like a deep forge plate and things like that, and I'm a happy camper. I love buffing things if it's myself or other units.
Oh yeah.
So so what I would really like is a in a perfect world, and I don't even know how you would balance this, but give me like a relic weapon that has a summon effect that also puts a weapon on a unit. Or better yet, just give me a card that says this is either a weapon or a relic weapon so that it has some flexibility and
Oh man.
call it like the mantis scythe or something like that. So it's like a 5, it's like +5 +5, maybe it costs 6 or 7, but you can put it on a unit or you can put it on your hero. Like, how cool would that be? It's so simple. I feel like it wouldn't be terribly destructive to the game. It probably wouldn't even make it into the meta, but man, it would be good in draft.
No, yeah, you just slap that into Justice and call it a day, dude. That's a
Yeah.
really cool idea, especially because well, Hearthstone, if I remember correctly, doesn't have equipment, so like it doesn't exist in that space. So
They sort of have. I mean, they have equipment that goes like on. Obviously, there was like the armory for the warriors, but I don't think there's any.
yeah,
I don't think there's any equipment buffs that go on units.
yeah, that's
So
like I guess that's what I mean. Yeah, because they definitely have like relic weapons in our
yeah,
space. But wow, that would be so cool. Like, because that would be like, oh, I've got the Sicaria here, and like I could play it, but my opponent has units, so I'm gonna slap this on Sicaria and call it a 10/10.
that's right. And if they don't have units and you don't have a guy, it's
Hmm.
not a dead card because it's a weapon that you can put on yourself. Like it's very flexible. I don't think it would be overpowered if it was costed correctly. And maybe you give it a cool keyword. Maybe you give it something like quick draw or who knows. That might be reaching a little far, but even just having the summon effect and or not summon effect, but having the split
Hmm.
effect where it could be a relic weapon or just a regular weapon. That's that would be my card, and it like reflects the decks I like to play.
Hmm.
It you could do it with my name pretty easily because like praying mantises are known for like the scythe arms and stuff.
Right.
So like it works out just all the way across the board.
That's awesome, dude. Oh, or actually, I just thought of this. It could have two different modes. One mode for when it's on a unit, and one mode for when it is a relic weapon. So you could be
There you
like,
go.
when it's on a unit, it gives endurance, and then like, I don't know what it would do. It'd be busted if it had quick draw. I think as a relic weapon, but
Yeah,
fair
there's
enough.
there's not a lot of there's not a lot of I think there's like 2 relic weapons that have quick draw, maybe even just one. But
Runic Revolver and Last Word, I believe.
look at you, man. You're such a beast.
Wait,
Like I
no.
have a good memory, but there's so many cards now.
Oh god, there's so many. I felt so cool as a set one player because I started playing in April of 2017. Yeah, so a year and some change. When we only had set one, and like getting to know every single card, that was amazing.
Yep. So you were right. Last Word and Runic Revolver,
God,
uh, both have. Hunter's Harpoon is a regular weapon. So yeah, Last Word and Runic Revolver are the only relic weapons with quick draw, and they have 2 attack on Runic and 1 on Last Word. So like you're not killing stuff with it. I mean, you can kill stuff with Last Word because it's deadly quick draw,
yeah.
but you need a face Aegis to stay alive with that.
Oh yeah. There, Kalos has a deck that she played in ETS or not ETS, the ECL on Tuesday, and it's last word, Reanimator, and I almost brought it, but I haven't played it, so It'll be fun. Well, all right, Manty Man, thank you so much for hanging out, dude. That was a really fun episode. Of course, Mantid, you can plug whatever you need to plug right now.
Yeah,
Go for it, dude.
I'll be happy to. So first and foremost, obviously, is teamrankstar.com. I'm a content member really only for Team Rankstar. I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well, but a lot of good people on that team doing a lot of really cool things, obviously performing really well this season in like ETS and the Direwolf stuff.
Right.
And you can find all my stuff there. So Trail Stories is my interview series that I do every week. This week is a really big name. Or actually, I can tell you because I don't think. Are you going to get this out in the next like day?
Oh no. I have a lot of work to do.
Gotcha. So since it'll be in the past, I have RNG Eternal this week. Or RNG from RNG Eternal this week. The Architect. Yeah. So he answers a lot of cool stuff. So if you haven't read it by the time this is out, go back and read that. And then I'm also, as we talked about a little bit, I'm working on a series right now called The Oath Book. And we're going to do, we already did a lore primer, which is 24 minutes long.
Which, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's amazing. As someone who doesn't like lore, I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. But I had some people reaching out because I only planned on doing like one lore, like heavy lore video every month because I don't have a lot of time. And they're like, hey, man, just do, like, I like listening to your voice. I like the insight that you've got on the lore and the passion. So can you do, like, something smaller in between? So this weekend, I'm actually recording the audio for, I'm going to do dramatic readings of the, like, hero spotlights and the chapter updates that have fantastic. The story stuff in it. So this weekend is Chairman Dizo, and I'm going to talk a bit about him and the Cabal and, like, how they overthrew Roland. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. Maybe I'll learn something. I can't lie. I don't read those primers at all. Like, not even.
I don't think a lot of people do. I think they go straight to see what the card does, and that's why people are asking me to do it. Is they want it where they can like listen to it like an audiobook. I mean, they're so popular for long form. Why not get a 5 or 10 minute overview and catch up a little further on the lore?
Well, alrighty, sir. Once again, thank you so much. Oh, and it's at MantidMan on Twitter if anyone's looking for him. I'll have links down in the description as well.
Yep, at MantidMan for me personally, and at Oathbook for lore stuff.
All right. Well, fantastic, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.